Hello, hello, hello chaps, it's Bing Shi Lao here, your favourite Chinaman, and I want to make a political video about the word dog whistle, because it's a really shit word that annoys me. The way it's used is very, what's the word? Very sneaky, very sly, very hypocritical. And, yeah, what is it? What is it? I mean, I just googled Quora to see what people are saying this word is, to check that I remembered it the right way. It's used to communicate an extreme and unpalatable idea to a core of supporters while still remaining palatable to normal people who don't know what you mean by that particular phrase. Now, I actually think that that's only part of it. I think there's another reason for dog whistles, and that's when you are being censored, so you literally can't use the normal words to express your ideas. So, in that aspect, when people complain about dog whistles, what do they mean? They mean that they have a censorship regimen spread across Western social media that has shadow banning and all kinds of other things, and of course regular banning, and sometimes that's attached to particular words. Like earlier in the past couple of years, there was a period where making videos talking about vaccines on YouTube would make it very likely that your video would get demonetized or shadow banned or striked or whatever it happens to be. So one of the political channels I follow was using the term jab instead of vaccine. Now, that's a dog whistle, in my opinion, or at least it's a similar thing. But let's get back to the main meaning of the word dog whistle, because that's shit too, and the way it's used is shit too. And it's another way in which the people who complain about dog whistles are actually just showing their desire to shut down opponent ideas. So one way they want to shut it down is because they don't like people dodging their word filter censorship on the internet. But here's the other example. You know, I thought Quora would be a good example for this place, because I know it's like Reddit. It's very bourgeois liberal. And so, what do you know? The first answer, even before I properly read it, is actually perfect for this video, because you know, here we have Mike Jones, 30 years in the technology industry. So like I was saying, wealthy, professional, liberal, urban. This is exactly the kind of person that uses this word. And what Mike Jones is alleging here is that the head of Judicial Watch complains about Soros. It actually means you're a full-blown anti-Semitic conspiracy theorist if you're against George Soros. Now, so supposedly, the dog whistle here is that you're pretending to not be anti-Semitic while saying Soros. And so people use dog whistles to conceal their anti-Semitism. But actually, what's going on here is exactly the opposite. The concept of a dog whistle is being used to accuse someone falsely of being anti-Semitic, thus delegitimizing and, in a sense, censoring a pretty mainstream political view, or something that should be mainstream. Because Soros, leaving aside all this stuff about global capitalism and Judaism and whatever else, leaving aside all that, Soros is a man who donates money to political causes in a strategic way to benefit his particular ideological views. He is someone who influences discourse, and he uses his wealth to influence the discourse and more than just the discourse, the justice system, things like that, in a supposedly democratic country. Now, is it really democratic for lobbying to be able to accomplish that sort of thing? No. Are we going to get rid of lobbying anytime soon? Are we a capitalist system where that kind of thing happens? Yes, realistically, that's not going away. But the least we should be able to do when anyone donates, I think it was hundreds of millions of dollars, or at least millions of dollars, in a very strategic and cohesive way to political causes, we should at least be able to criticize them, to know that they are doing it, to say that they shouldn't be doing it, to say that they are balking or influencing things. And you know, that is completely a legitimate thing to say, and then it's being delegitimized by this. So the term dog whistle really serves two purposes. In the sense of, you know, purely dodging a word filter with, like, saying jabbed instead of vaccines, what is the purpose of the concept of dog whistle when it's wielded by these people who use it most, the bourgeois liberals? Well, it's to complain that their censorship, their verbal censorship network has holes in it. People are using different words to express their ideas. Imagine, I don't know if you're watching this video, maybe you've done this, but imagine having to think of alternative words to express your ideas because you live in a censored political climate. That's outrageous. And imagine this. Oh, apparently Soros, yeah, he's just a Jew. That's why they're complaining, not the massive political donations. Actually, it does say Soros occupied. that is a little bit similar to. That is pretty inflammatory. But regardless of this particular example, that's pretty funny. I wonder if the head of Judicial Watch actually was dog whistling. That would be quite funny if he was. But regardless of this particular example, it does get used in this way, to claim that a dog whistle is being made when it isn't. Although, to be honest, even if this was a dog whistle for the Zionist occupation government, it really is a fact that Israel has a huge amount of influence in the US. Should it really? Does it serve the US's foreign policy interests? Does Ben Shapiro deserve to be the most influential conservative commentator just because another Jew, they're both Jewish, who is it, Zuckerberg in Facebook, decided to not ban or shadow ban him like he did to so many other conservatives? Ben Shapiro is actually privileged, I think, in the Facebook algorithm. I think that's been proven. So there is outside Jewish influence. Now, does that mean you have to be an anti-Semite? Oh, I'm dog whistling. I'm complaining about Jews, therefore it means I have to be a full-blown anti-Semite, and that can't be allowed. Therefore, criticising immensely powerful, wealthy, influential people like Shapiro and Soros can't be allowed either. Do you see how this whole concept of the dog whistle? It is just a way for these urban liberals to slavishly kiss the arse of the capitalist power structure. That's what it is. It's one of these vicious, pretentious concepts that is really just another tool of control. It's a tool of delegitimizing. I can't stand it. These people are so fucking sick in the head. Actually, there's a tiny little bit extra that I want to say, which is why the word dog whistle will always serve the power structure. You know, a dog whistle is basically you're complaining about something unpalatable being quietly said. Now, who determines what is unpalatable, what is unacceptable, what is a message so outrageous in today's society that it has to be concealed when it's expressed? Well, of course, the people who are in charge do. The journalists, the universities, the popular politicians, the people with their hands on the levers in the social media companies. In other words, the ruling class of society. So it's almost not really possible to use this word in a political context without, it's always going to be used to complain about minority opinions, and it's always going to be used to double down on the control of discourse by whoever happens to be in control of it, pretty much by definition, because they're the ones who decide what's so unacceptable or outrageous.